Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Yesterday, my apartment was broken into by a pack of sentient monkeys, much like the ones in Planet of the Apes, and they asked me if the printing of Ragavan, Nimble, Pilferer had revitalized the Pokepile archetype in Legacy. And I told the monkeys, I said, you know what? I had not thought about that yet, but let me see if I can put something together. So, what you see here before you is Monkey Pile. It is kind of has a lot of the core theme of the original Pokepile deck, where it's a rug deck with Mana Denial and Stifle and Wasteland and Daze as counter magic protection, and then it's trying to use all this to protect a snowbally threat. So back in February, when Jotaro and Oko were banned, I said that Rug Pokepile kind of didn't really have a threat to slot in that would make playing these cards worth it to kind of help snowball. I kind of want to see if Ragavan fits the bill for that sort of threat. It's certainly not quite as strong as Jet Arcanist or Oko in that sense, just because it's not adding to the board turn after turn the way Oko does, and it's easier to kill than Jet Arcanist was, and it's easier to block, and there's also kind of less of it, like the value you get off this is less guaranteed, where you don't know what spell you're going to hit off the opponent's deck or whether or not it's good for you to cast. But it does give you a mana advantage, and that lets you do things with your turn, like Brainstorm, Ponder, while holding up Stifle or Wasteland plus other stuff for your turn. So I think that in and of itself definitely improves the quality or the power of a card like Stifle. You'll see I'm only playing two. I wanted to also test a new card from Modern Horizons 2 called Dress Down. So this is a 2-minute enchantment with flash. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. And then creatures lose all abilities, and at the beginning of the end step, you sacrifice Dress Down. And, I was kind of thinking about this card a lot because it just, the more you think about it, the more you realize that it just has a ton of application in the Legacy format. And importantly, I think it helps fill a hole that playing red specifically has as opposed to white, which is that sometimes there are big creatures in the format that you struggle to kill with red removal, and Dress Down helps a lot of that. So what I actually did was I made a column of cards over here that I think that Dress Down lines up particularly well against, just so that I wouldn't forget. And we're going to go through them real quick. So the top three ones here are the ones I'm mentioning or thinking of. Tarmogoyf, Knight of the Valkyrie, and Eldritch Reclaimer are all big creatures that get shrunk to Lightning Bolt range when Dress Down is in play. So this can help answer like a long-standing problem that kind of red mid-range decks have had. It also funnily kills all the construct tokens that Urza Saga might make, and this is a card seeing a lot of play at the moment. Just they become 0/0s and die. It also lines up pretty well against any Thassa's Oracle deck. It plays a similar role to Stifle in that effect, or in that regard. Another one, it takes the protection away from True Name Nemesis, which True Name Nemesis is seeing a slight uptick in play recently because it's really good in the Blue-Red Delver Mirror, and because Black has been seeing less play, and Plague Engineer has been seeing less play as a result, kind of because I think right now in Legacy, Black is not a viable color for your fair deck, and that's like a whole other thing that I don't want to get into in this video. But kind of the result of that is that Black is seeing less play, and then so True Name gets a little better. And the last one I want to point out is Mother of Runes, and this is kind of a stand-in for the Death and Taxes deck in general, where Dress Down counters a lot of the ETB effects of the Death and Taxes deck, and also lines up pretty well against Mother of Runes and Thalia in that it removes the Thalia attacks for a turn cycle, and it removes Mother of Runes' ability to protect something. So like if they had turn 1 Mother and you didn't have a removal spell turn 1, but you draw one later in the game, you can cycle Dress Down and kill Mother of Runes. And it lines up very well in the sense that say they have a creature attacking into your Ice-Fang Coatl, like say they're attacking with Thalia into your Ice-Fang Coatl, and you cast Dress Down. There's really nothing they can do to stop you from killing the Thalia. Because if they give the Thalia protection from green or blue or whatever, it loses that ability after Dress Down comes into play. But if they wait until Dress Down's in play, then Mother of Runes loses the ability to protect something. So, it's kind of a nice little, interaction there in your favor. One last thing, it does combine with Uro in the sense that, if Dress Down is in play, Uro just enters as a 3-mana 6/6, and then you just get to start attacking with it later. It doesn't draw the card on ETB, but Dress Down drew a card, whereas Stifle doesn't. So you're kind of card neutral in that sense compared to Stifle. And then it's 5 mana versus 3, but you can actually split this up over 2 turns because the way Dress Down reads, you get to, if you play in your opponent's end step, it sticks around for the full turn cycle. So you can hold up your mana for like Coatl or Stifle or, Lightning Bolt or, Hullbreacher or Endurance or whatever you want. And then if your opponent doesn't do anything, you can play Dress Down, and then the next turn you're only spending 3 mana for Uro instead of the 4 for Uro plus Stifle, which, you don't get to put the extra land into play off the Uro, ETB, but sometimes you didn't have that land anyway, and so, oftentimes you will actually end up saving a mana on the turn you're casting Uro, just because you didn't have the extra land to put into play. Last thing and most obvious thing, but just wanted to include it. Other new card I'm testing is Unholy Heat, another new card from MH2. It's a shock for creatures or planeswalkers, and it has Delirium, deals 6 damage instead of 4 if there are 4 more card types among cards in your graveyard. I'm certainly going to run into people playing Jace and then taking up to 5 in an attempt to have it survive Lightning Bolt, only to trade 1 for 1 with Unholy Heat, and that will, I'm sure, feel good should it happen. Other than that, kind of a lot of the same cards that you've seen me play before. Uro, Prismari Command, Hullbreacher. This stuff is nothing new. In the sideboard, again, not much new, not much different. I have a 3rd Endurance in the sideboard. I think that you're going to see this very commonly is that, there's no real need to play any Graveyard Hate outside of 3 or 4 copies of Endurance. And so that's the only Graveyard Hate I have in the sideboard. So yeah, we are going to jump into a 3-match set and see how it goes. I'm definitely going to be interested in seeing how Dress Down fares compared to Stifle, and I'm going to be seeing if this Monke is worth the hype. So let's get right into it. Welcome to round 1. I had some camera issues for the first minute or so of the game. I had to throw back a No-Lander 7, kept the 6, bottomed Ice-Fang Coatl. This is kind of everything that I was thinking of when building this deck, just Ragavan plus Daze Force, and then strong cards to play off of it instead of maybe just mopey Delver cards. Although I don't know if you can quite say that anymore. That was the thing with Pokepile, and I thought the strength that it had over Delver was that it was playing a lot of the same good cards, but then you had a better late game than Delver did. I think these days Delver just has a really good late game with Expressive Iteration and Murktide Regent, so I can't really say that anymore. Just Delver is so broken right now. But this still seems very powerful, and I'm excited to see what Ragavan does against what looks to be some sort of Thassa's Oracle combo deck based on this Hideaway land. Could be anything. It was a Chalice. I guess I cast that on 0, huh? Because I don't play 0s and they played 0s. So I'm gonna cast this on 0. I'm gonna hold up Hullbreacher, which I get to cast on turn 2 thanks to this treasure token that my Ragavan made. So things are looking good, so far. I wonder if this is going to be a Brainstorm type effect. It is a Paradigm Shift. I think I need to force that. Yeah, I'm going to force pitching Uro. Interesting that the sack the treasure token. I don't know what that means. I'm actually going to not cast the Hullbreacher. I guess because I have Chalice, they don't likely play cantrips, but I kind of want to save it as a surprise. And then since we drew this Force of Will, that's kind of nice too. That it's a blue card to pair with it. So I exiled this. I'm not gonna play it because I think leaving a Hullbreacher is better. Although maybe I should just save this as a blue pitch and just play my creature. Yeah. I think because I saw the Chalice, it means they're just like less likely to play cantrips, and so this card in play, not particularly good. It's better as a blue card in my hand. And it's only one less power to play the 3/2, or the 2/2 rather. They have another shift. I have a Daze. So I'm going to attack with my creatures. I hit an island. I'm going to Wasteland this one because this is the one they played on turn 1 and they wanted to shift on turn 2. So that kind of makes me feel like this card has an Oracle under it. This is my thought. If this is a Chalice, I don't care. It's too late. I already have stuff on the board. That's okay, it's a blue card. Yeah, I'm gonna cast this one, I guess. And I think I want to mill them so that if they have another paradigm shift, their deck is bigger. I don't think they play any graveyard synergies like self-mill stuff. So I think it's just paradigm shift. Yeah, you can impulse. I guess I will draw a card first before deciding what to do with my turn, but obviously I'm just very likely to attack with my 2 creatures. Ancient Tomb. Okay. You know what? That's fine. So now they have, we have lethal on board. Double Force of Will in hand. I'm gonna force pitch a card for 2 reasons. 1, I have the cards to pitch, and this is the last turn of the game. And then 2, it plays around Daze. The draw was very good. Just 3 must counters and Force of Will. But obviously Ragavan is a little bit better. So, opponent's deck. What do we want against opponent's deck? One quick thing. I will note that between the deck tech and the first match, I did actually change the 3rd Endurance into a Surgical. My thought process being that Band Control is very popular right now, and I actually think that getting rid of their Swords to Plowshares is like a somewhat enticing proposition because it lets, you dash Ragavan a lot safer, and it also lets you, potentially win with Uro plus Karakas, or Hullbreacher is a big one where it's like without Swords to Plowshares, most of their answers to Hullbreacher are sorcery speed, and so other than Force of Will, which you have Pyroblast and Flusterstorm and Veil for, you they're hard pressed to answer Hullbreacher if you flash it in response to a cantrip. Anyway, back to this game. So they play Chalice and things of that nature. They play Island, so I think I want Carpet. They play Counter Magic, so I think I want this. They don't draw cards really, so like I'm going to cut the Hullbreacher. I guess I leave in the Endurances because they are trying to deck themselves. So it's like, oh, is that true though? Does that ever work? Probably not, because with Paradigm Shift, their graveyard's going to be very small. I'm going to leave in one, but I'm going to cut one. With Paradigm Shift, their graveyard's likely to be very small. Actually, I'm going to leave in these. Sorry, I realize I'm a little bit low on time. I'm going to cut these. I'm going to leave in these because with Delirium, this can kill a Jace, which is an interesting proposition. I have 3 more cards to cut. I'm going to cut the Ice-Fang Coatls because they are kind of mopey as far as clock is concerned. And then I'm going to cut the Karakas because they don't really have legendary creatures to bounce. And we're going to submit like that. And then I'll kind of reevaluate Endurance. I think it just doesn't work because if they have the Thought Lash in play, this is not keepable, I don't think. It's so close because it's like it has this for Chalice. It has like Force of Will, blue card. I'm gonna mulligan. I think we can do slightly better. This is slightly better, just exactly slightly. So done. If they have Chalice, it's kind of like the big bummer for us here. I'm gonna hold up this one. Yeah. But I don't think Endurance works because it's like if I'm just gonna blast that. I want to buy time. If they have Thought Lash in play, they just mill their whole library again, and if they're on the Paradigm Shift plan, their library is probably small enough anyway. So I think it doesn't work. So I'm just gonna Loam. Loam is kind of a medium card in this deck. I only have 9 fetch lands for it. But it's only a 1-of, just kind of helps you rebuy Wastelands and feels the graveyard for Uro. Opponent has passed with 1,000,000 cards in hand. I don't know what that could mean. I'm going to do this. And the nice thing about Loam is that if they're holding up Hullbreacher, it's just like a gotcha type card. I get to judge Loam instead of drawing a card with Uro, so I get to play around it a little bit. I'm not going to judge Loam, though. I might next turn. We'll see. I do have 4 card types for Delirium now. That's one thing I was thinking about when building the deck is, I'm a little bit worried about finding the requisite card types. They're just not doing anything. I think I'm just going to dredge this. Unfortunately, did not mill any lands over, but we still have the 1 fetch land in the graveyard, and that should be enough to escape Uro next turn. I'm not sure if that's what I would like to do with my turn, because they're not doing anything, so it almost feels better to safer to wait a turn, dredge Loam again, get back lands, hopefully 5 and 6, and then afterwards I can dredge Uro or play Uro with Dress Down available. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do actually. Is just dredge this. Oh, we did hit a land. Maybe it is just better to play the arrow. I'm gonna wait a turn. This could be needlessly safe, like, you know, needlessly risk adverse, but I think it's what I want to do. All right, they found their second island. Because the nice thing is that if they have like Thought Lash, then I get to wilt it. I'm gonna get Island. No more Dredging Loam. Hoping to draw a blue card in 2 draw steps. I did not. This has an island to get, so I will get. And then I'm going to play the arrow. Oops. Yeah, need green mana. Foolish. So can we keep Delirium? I think that's an easier thing to figure out in paper. So I'm just gonna keep in this 1 instant, get rid of these 3 instants. I'm gonna keep in this 1 sorcery, get rid of this 1 sorcery, and then keep in. I guess I can delve the carpet and leave the lands in. And I still have, oh shit, did I mess up? Oh, because the creature's gone. Oh my god, no. That's embarrassing. That's very embarrassing. And it actually might matter too, where it's like, if this can't kill Thassa's Oracle, I'm just like in kind of bad shape. Yeah, that was bad. I don't know. That one's fine. I don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking that I would still have 4 card types in there, but I was forgetting that the creature would leave the battlefield. Or leave the graveyard, sorry. Right, so at this point, I'm looking for Wasteland. I guess those kind of are good enough, huh? I could dash Ragavan. One, two, three, four. Just thinking if it's worth it to play the arrow. I think the answer is no. I'm just going to cast this, and then I'll have so much mana next turn with the treasure as well. I also do have the option to, in the end step, play this and then untap and play arrow just as a 3 mana 6/6. But I think this is just important enough for stopping Oracle that I don't want to waste it. Okay, so they have 4 cards. I'm trying to think of like what I could lose to. Also, awkward. They have to tap that. I guess they could wait till next turn. Although they can't let me exile the impulse. Well, that's not true. I guess they could cast this in upkeep. So I guess I'm a bit of a liar. I'm gonna let that resolve. And then I can cycle Wilt, and then I have double force, double blue card, plus stress down. I'm gonna force pitch Uro. And again, I really want to play around their last card being Daze. So I'm going to just cast a Force again. That one might definitely be needlessly aggressive. This can't block Ragavan. And so because I messed up, I'm going to need to do what's known as a pro gamer move. And I need to cast this EE for x equals 0 to potentially crack it and put an artifact in my graveyard. This one. Yeah. Okay. So definitely kind of a big misstep there to delve away the creature from my graveyard, or delve away the enchantment from my graveyard so that I didn't have a Delirium, because I could have just let the Jace resolve and in response to the plus killed it, you know? And that would have just won me the game pretty easily because they would have actually just drawn with an empty library. Luckily, we were able to recoup, recover, and I will see you for the next round. We are here for round 2. We've run the die roll. I just have a good habit of just like winning die rolls during my videos. I don't know what I want to do with this Ponder. Like, I don't know if I want removal spells if I see it, so I kind of want to not cast it this turn. So that leads to the first question, which is what land do I play? I could leave with Misty to play around Wasteland. The issue with that is if I need to end up bolting something and Wastelanding, like on the next turn, then I have to use this fetch land to get a Volk, and at that point I don't have access to green. I could play this and expose myself to Wasteland. I could play this and not do such a thing, but then I can't Wasteland plus Ponder. I could play Karakas. I think that's the worst decision. I think I'm just going to play this, and if I get Wastelanded, then I know that this Ponder needs to find more mana. But this just lets me do the most things over the next turn cycle, should I need to, based on kind of what comes up. Like this Goblin Guide that I very much want to bolt now and not later. I'm going to bolt this now. Now, do I want to Ponder? I think I do. I think I just am looking for Uro, and that kind of will win me the game. Ding. There's the Uro on the aforementioned Uro. It's just if I want to draw it second or third. I think, quite frankly, that if I just go Uro, Karakas, bounce it, I can't possibly lose. So I'm just going to draw it second. I will force a Eidolon if they cast it. I guess I'd force a Goblin Guide too. Is that true? Luckily, I don't have to make a decision, it looks like. One interesting thing about Dress Down is that against Eidolon, you could do the trick where you cast it in the end step, and then should you need to cast like a flurry of spells, you get to. So I'm going to fetch a basic to play around Price of Progress. So let's just get a basic forest here. The basic mountain, always the scourge of a Uro player's existence. Is you kind of want it for your Ragavans and your Lightning Bolts and whatnot, but speaking of, it does not help you cast your Uro. But I think that gaining 3 life every turn should probably be sufficient against their deck, unless they have another Eidolon or taxing effect. At that point, it's only gaining 1 life a turn. Alright, so I think what I'm going to do, get the island. Put this into play, bounce this, and then cast with dash. And then this lets me get a treasure to hold up Lightning Bolt, and I kind of doubt there's anything. Well, that one I would certainly not play, and I also can't cast it right now. It's fine. So, can I cast an Escape Arrow? 1, 2, 3. No. I'm not even close. I need 2 more colored sources of mana. Although Ragavan could potentially provide that. I'm actually going to leave up the Wasteland, because if they have Price of Progress, I get to Wasteland one of my lands. And then it would only deal 2 damage. If they bolt this Ragavan, obviously I don't care. It's fine. And now I would have enough, right? No, I need one more green source. Oh my god. It was so hard to cast and escape in one turn. Wouldn't you know? Okay, yes. As we suspected, gaining 3 life a turn. Enough to win the game against Burn. Okay, so against Burn, they play Eidolon, so I want this. They play a lot of creatures, so I want this. They play spells and red spells, so I want these 2. And then this one is close. This one is also close. I think if they were on like the super enchantment heavy version with like the 2 mana enchantment that Eidolon is based off of and the 2 mana red enchantment that stops people from gaining life, I'd probably consider these more strongly, but they looked like a more like spell heavy version, so I think I'm gonna leave it to these 4. There's not that much that I actually want. I can trim Wastelands because it doesn't hit any of the lands. It's only good for preventing my thing. Life from the Loam is just not a good card. It's very slow. I'm not really sure. Stifle is like not great. It's between Stifle and Dress Down. I'm kind of just thinking about their applications. So Stifle is really only good against Riftbolt. Dress Down is like not really good against anything, but it draws a card. And it does do the thing I mentioned where, you can play Dress Down. Like, say you have like a bunch of cantrips, but no Lightning Bolt, and they play an Eidolon. Like, the turn they play Eidolon in their end step, you can like flash and Dress Down and take the 2 damage. But then on your turn, you can cast your cantrips to look for the spell. That seems super, super narrow, though, so I'm just going to cut it. You could also make an argument to cut these just because they're not blue cards, but I think this jumps in front of a blocker pretty well, which is something I see myself wanting to do against Burn deck. I used to run Clothis in this sort of a deck, and I think it's not good anymore due to just the power creep of MH2. But obviously it would be very good here. Yeah, I guess while we're waiting, I can talk about that a bit. So Clothis, if you're kind of wondering why, or you didn't think of it, and you're now just thinking, why did Clothis go from, this ubiquitous Delver card to just seeing no play? And the reason is because in the Delver Mirror, it used to be, a pseudo removal spell for a creature because gaining 2 life a turn was kind of effectively the same as killing a Delver of Secrets, de facto. And then the damage would passively kill them, and they couldn't really be dealt with. Rolling in this one. Nowadays, though, the Delver decks, like their cards give you card advantage. Like this card is not, being countered by Clothis because you're still getting the treasures and you're still drawing cards. And then also Murktide Regent is like frequently, a 6/6 to an 8/8, and gaining 2 life a turn doesn't stop that. In addition, the Bant control decks got Prismatic Ending, which completely destroys Clothis because like its biggest selling point against the control decks was that it was difficult to remove with cards that were legacy playable, and then it would just like slowly eat their graveyard and kill them. But now every Bant deck is playing 3 ways to just like cleanly 1-for-1 it. So that's why Clothis isn't seeing play. This hand's a keep. I'm going to bottom the Hullbreacher because these cards cycle, and I did open an Uro, so I just want to be able to find my third land drop. Hopefully Goblin Guide helps with that. Perfect. It's a second Uro. Am I supposed to play? No, I'm supposed to hold the Hydroblast. I'm not going to be silly. Sure. That's actually really good for me. They should have waited till second main to do that because it means that I know they can't play Eidolon on the Great Revel. Alright, so I will fetch that away. I'm going to get... Do I need the red mana right now? It's really just for Ragavan, which I don't plan to cast next turn. Okay, I'm just going to get basic island, play around Price of Progress a little bit. If I draw a bunch of red spells in a row, I'm going to feel bad, obviously. But I think the way my hand is currently situated, it's just like not even necessary. Force was, as far as non-lands go, Force was a really strong pickup here. I think I want to high roll if they just... Yeah, so I think I want to high roll with this. And if I draw a land in 2 draw steps, I can just put Uro into play as a 6/6. I did. I'm going to fetch a basic forest again to play around Price of Progress. All right. Go. If you can kill me from 10, this is very validating. Thank you. Cool. I was gonna say, if you kill me from 10 with Force in hand, with 5 cards in hand and no land, like, all right, you deserve it. But it'd have to be very specific. It'd be like you'd have to have drawn a land, have 3 1-mana burn spells in your hand, and a Pyroblast. And they did not have those 5 cards specifically, so we win. That was very cool that we got to see the end step dress down in action, and see how Stifle wouldn't have done it there. Dress down, drew us a card into the land, in addition to leaving the Uro in play. So very sweet. I'll be back for the last round. All right, we are here for the last round. We've won the die roll. This hand is interesting. I'm going to keep it. I hope my opponent's a removal deck, or a deck where Endurance is good against them. Or, sorry, a creature deck, or a deck where Endurance is good against them. The biggest issue here is my mana's not great. I don't play Taiga in the deck, so I don't have double green and red right now. And this land is wastable. But we'll see how things develop. You get a random demonic tutor at the start of each of your turns, and you do yourself a disservice if you don't factor that into your keep for mulligans. All right, random demonic tutor number 1. Dress down. Pretty interesting. I'm going to play this. I think I will go for the end step dress down into Uro play if is presented to me. I hope my opponent is not playing Stifle themselves. That would be rough. Obviously, showing them the Wasteland like lets them know to fetch basics, but but I didn't want to leave my tropical island out to dry against like an enemy Wasteland. Was my thought. Sorry, I can't do this now. I have to do this in the end step. This is going to resolve. I actually changed my mind. This deck is likely a Swords to Plowshare deck, and so just like leaving the Uro on the battlefield kind of just doesn't do anything. I don't mind cycling that there just because there's not many good targets against my opponent's deck. It's just like you prevent Ice-Fang from drawing a card. That's really it. And especially just the kicker is drawing this Force of Negation that I do not mind hard casting. Oh, interesting. They're bug. I thought they were going to be banned, obviously. That's okay. All right, well. They're very unlikely to be able to escape their Uro next turn. So I'm going to play mine. And I will Brainstorm now. I have a feeling Lightning Bolt is not the greatest card in this matchup. I imagine all other creatures are going to have like some sort of value. Yeah, I think I just shuffle both. I think I shuffle both Lightning Bolts away. I keep Ragavan. Maybe I want to actually. Yeah, I guess I want to ponder now so that. Oh fuck! Oh my god! I want to ponder now. I wanted to ponder now. Oh my god, that's so bad. I can't believe I just did that. I wanted to ponder so that I could escape Uro the next turn. That's pretty pathetic. All right, I'll try to brush it off. Then I got lost in thought about like what if they play mainboard carpet, you know, and then I was like, oh, if they play mainboard carpet, I want forest, and I just like forgot the level 0 of why I'm fetching, which is to cast ponder. If I dash Ragavan and it connects, I will be able to still escape the Uro. I think if I just find like a land or something, or if I find a fetch land, I can cast ponder and escape Uro. We'll see what my opponent does. My opponent might be playing like some sort of Alurin deck. That's not out of the question. Do I want to force this so that I keep my Uro? I think the answer is yes. If they force back, those forces were always going to trade. Okay. Interesting. So it's a drain for 2, and they regrow a land. They return a Misty to their hand. I don't think that's that good here. Obviously, it's like a 1-for-1, you know, to some extent. You can't complain. Well, those are all good cards. I'm gonna draw the Force first, and then I'm gonna do I want to Wasteland now, or is the mana more important to me? Because they have a Misty in hand, you know, like they're just gonna get to a bunch of mana. I think it's just better to use the Wasteland as a colorless mana source for my deck. Alright, so they did have double Force, double blue card. I don't want to play out this Ragavan right now. I know that they have well, they have the blocker right there. Sure. So I might want to brainstorm this back later. Interesting. I think I actually want to Wasteland their Wasteland. Because it protects my card sources and is another card in the graveyard for Uro. I might want to play this Ragavan so that I can throw it in the graveyard to escape Uro. I kind of want to do that, actually. They might have another endurance. That's tough. I'll hold it. I'm not that gung-ho, actually. I took it back. I guess I could have blocked the Strix, but I think my endurance trading with theirs is better. Yeah, and really what this game came down to was they drew their Sylvan Library, and I did not draw mine. It does look like Wasteland is kind of good against them, though. Like they probably only play very few basics, so I think I'm going to keep mine in. If they're fetching, I kind of want to stifle it. This could be bait or, like, you know, weak or whatever, but okay. So they're both 2/3s, so I think I'm just gonna get rid of their graveyard. Hope to eat the Tarmogoyf. Okay. Yeah. They drew Library. I did not draw mine. So that's kind of what the game came down to. And they had endurances for my Uro. Alright. Well, to the sideboard. So Hullbreacher, really good against them. I don't know if that one is. Carpet's good against them. Veil of Summer, definitely pretty solid. EE is questionable. I'm going to bring in the Wilt. And then they have a lot of green cards, but they're going to have a lot of red cards too. This, I'm less sure about. I guess it does hit Uro. So that's good. I'm going to trim. I'm actually just going to cut all the lightning bolts. I think that they just don't do quite enough. And I'll trim the Dazes. I'll leave in one bolt. Yeah, let's do that. I don't think I want Flusterstorm. Alright, let's run this. Hope to either answer their library or draw ours. I'm gonna leave in the Stifle just because, especially on the play, it can like hurt their early mana development. Maybe on the play I want a Daze too. It's possible I don't want Ragavans. I just think it's so good on the play. But obviously against their deck it might not be the best. Maybe I just want it with Daze so that it's more likely to get through. Alright. Magic Online is telling me it's time for game 2, so we'll see kind of what happens. I'll keep this. They never saw this in game 1, so that has something going for me. Obviously, if like this Unholy Heat was a Daze, I'd feel much better. They have to ponder. I imagine that they will stack it such that Ragavan does not get the best card, you know? Probably just a land. But I'm still making the treasure token, which has value. Yes. Okay. So I'm going to ponder. Tarn endurance, probably what I want. It's possible the heats are bad too, just because it's hard to get endurance or it's hard to get delirium, and I'm going to have the endurance on top. This is a 2/3. I'm gonna do this, use the treasure, just so I can preserve the fetch. I know it's kind of annoying to like use mana. This is gonna be a 3/4. Should I put an instant in the yard? Which, you know, Bolt and Unholy Heat are. That's really rough. I could just double Bolt it to keep attacking. That might be worth it. So I'm gonna do that. Well, I'm gonna keep this with the plan of doing that. Yikes. I could also bolt it. Endurance my own graveyard? That sounds awful. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to double bolt it. Cast Ragavan. Could also Endurance their graveyard. And then Unholy Heat it. I think none of these are that good. If they force, I have a Veil. Which makes me feel better about this whole exchange. Now I'm unlikely to hit something to cast. Oh, never mind. I can't keep this because it has a third Ragavan. And it doesn't have a second green for either of these endurances. So I traded 3 cards for their 3 cards, but this one drew a card. So I was actually up a card in the exchange. And then this card also drew a card. So I'm feeling a little ahead. Obviously, they could just put another Goyf in play, and I'm kind of in a similar pickle. But it seems like they don't have removal. They did not have a removal last time. They do have another Goyf to put into play, though, so that's annoying. Sure. This stupid Basic Mountain again. Maybe this Basic Mountain... No, because then Coatl is bad. Maybe this Basic Mountain should just be a Taiga, though, so that I can cast my double green spells more readily. Both graveyards have too many card types in them. I guess I could have attacked with Ragavan and then Endurance their graveyard to at least kill the Goyf. But if I could hardcast Endurance, I would do that. But I can't, so I'm not going to. That's fine. I can Pyroblast the other half. Also escaping it might kill the Goyf. Or shrink the Goyf, rather. Man, that's super awkward. Yeah, just losing another game to our mana, just not getting under us. It's very, very frustrating. I'm gonna cycle this. We have a Pyroblast for like the first Uro. Is this any good? I'm gonna draw the carpet. Get rid of the Uro. Like, God, I'm 2 for winning myself for not even a full card because I couldn't draw mana. It's just like really frustrating. But next turn I'm gonna draw Loam. That's fine. If they attack, I can dash Ragavan. That's also fine. They have 1 card in hand, so it's just mana at this point. Alright, so I'm gonna Loam. Get back the Scalding Tarn. Fetch a Trop and dash. If the last card is like Endurance, then obviously I'm in big trouble. If it's just removal, like that's not that bad actually. Especially if it gets me a land, like I'll take that all day. I'll get a forest. That's fine, we have Pyroblast for that. Also, not gonna judge that. We can hit our own yard to make the Goifa, 0 power guy. I'm actually just gonna hold this in hand. Yeah, just so like if they draw a banger, I can force it. So that's actually pretty annoying because now their Goif will be a 3/4 because they do an instant to play. I do have to shuffle my own yard in though, so that I can block and trade. Obviously, it's just right to wait, but it just sucks that they do an instant so that the Goif doesn't get eaten by my endurance. They have to like either bounce this or plus. So I'm just gonna let that happen and then brainstorm looking for like a bolt or a something. Or 3 lands, I could draw 3 lands too. That's totally fine. I'm just gonna stifle that. So right now I have 2 card types. So if they didn't draw something here, I will get to, at the very least, force the Goif to jump block. Maybe I should be trimming Wasteland just because they're going to bring in carpets. That's probably what I should be cutting down on. I guess that was a mistake. I'm going to counter this. If their hand's bad, and they're shuffling my bad cards, that could be relevant. Sure. The Force was going to trade with Force anyway, if they found something. Not shuffle. All right, I guess I'm dead. Looks like they do endurance. Well, I will attack Jace. Okay, so that's fine. Well, no, I already used my Veil. Oh no, Veil's still in the deck. So I'm gonna actually deal 2 and then loot. So deal 2 here, and then I will loot here. Red, blue, green. Get rid of these. Because the Veil was still in the deck because I shuffled it in. I can't keep the Ice-Fang, so I will shuffle. That could be good later. We'll see how things shake out. Okay, well, could be good now. Oh, I should have done this upkeep, because if the last card's Force of Will, I'd make them use mana on their turn. But whatever. It's just awkward that like I can't even attack just for fear of the endurance, you know? The reward here is high enough though that it's worth the risk. Also, they look like they were F6. I'm still not going to do it, you know? I guess I just hit this. And I'm going to use this because my life total is a little bit low. I get to see what's in their deck. Get to see how good Wasteland is. They play 2 carpets. So it's probably... And they play this to grow things back. They don't have much right now. They have Sudden Edict to kill my thing. They have Assassin's Trophy. That's it. All right. We've got a game. They didn't kill the Hullbreacher, which leads me to believe they didn't draw anything good. That was the carpet we knew about. I'm gonna start. I should definitely be auto yielding to these triggers. I'll check the full deck list when I'm sideboarding if we get a game 3. That's a good one because it lets me save my guy. If they do like endurance, exactly. Before, I don't think it's changing my play. Like I'm gonna cast it. They do have 1 Hullbreacher. Oh well. They didn't have it. So I'm actually gonna do this so that if they drew a Hullbreacher, I can play an escape the Uro in 1 turn. I have enough mana, you know, potentially. This looks like they're conceding. Okay. Okay, so let's actually look at their deck. So like 3 decays, or maybe 2. Should look at their deck again. Only 2 decays? Yeah, okay, so 2 decays, 1 Assassin's Trophy, 1 Fatal Push. They're probably going to bring back in... Oh, no, 3 Fatal Push. So they do have a fair amount of answers. They have 3 Goyf. It looks like Ragavan's just not going to be that good on the draw, but then again, I don't think Wasteland's that good in the deck right now. Because they have 4 basics and 2 Carpet of Flowers. So maybe we just like if Ragavan trades 1 for 1, is that bad? Probably not. So I think we bring in this because they still have their Force of Wills in. I think I want this for like their Carpet and Library, and like if they play like Library plus Goyf, you know, this is a good trade. I'm gonna bring in 1 Daze. I'm just gonna cut the Wastelands. I think that's for the best. We don't want to be flooding on lands. Do we cut an Unholy Heat? It's just so hard to get Delirium when they have triple Tarmogoyf. So I think I'm just gonna play this other Force of Will. Hope to like force an Endurance or something. Okay. Let's run it. How many good answers do they have to the Uro in play? So they have like the removal spells. I'm just seeing if like Dress Down into Uro is a good line. I think it's hard to punish. Like, it just gets punished by trading with removal spells, but then it just goes to the graveyard anyway. So it's like, it's just all upside basically. Sure. I'll keep. I'm gonna fetch a basic because they play Carpet. I could have, in theory, like tried to dash on, like ponder turn 1, dash turn 2, and that way they don't know about the card, and so they might like do something different with their turn. My thought process is if they just kill it this turn, then I can dash the other one. So I kind of want to let them know about this and then hope they kill it. Because if they have a creature, they're probably just gonna play a creature anyway, you know. How many Strix were they running? Only 2. Hilarious that Goyf is a 1/2, so it would in fact trade. Tilt. Well, if I draw a green source of mana, I will definitely. Well, okay, so I'm gonna ponder first. Third land, second Hullbreacher is pretty good. I'm gonna go to Pyroblast this. If they force it, then that's a 2-for-1 in my favor. If they don't, I get to attack. And who knows what could happen? Misty. Oh well, that's what happened. Now we know. I got 2-for-1 myself, but we have the treasure token, which again has value. Lets us potentially do things plus, leave a Hullbreacher. Things of this nature. Okay. Now there is an Ice-Fang Coatl underneath here, so one thing I could consider doing is drawing it and then using this to fetch the other island. And it has that touch, so I can trade with this. Sure. I think I'm just going to get a drop and play the Hullbreacher, though. Look to put back this Monke. Yeah, these are pretty good. Do I want to crack the clue for a ponder? Probably not. One thing I'm thinking of is, do I want to play a second Hullbreacher? Like leave a second Hullbreacher? I think it's just better to play my own library. It's fine. Feels like they probably have removal, which sucks. I'm gonna ponder. That was one below. Big tilt. So I need. That sucks too because it's like I just need to keep this stuff, huh? Alright, I'm not gonna attack. Obviously, it looks like they have removal for the Hullbreacher. I'm gonna make them use it. Hope it's the Assassin's Trophy. Oh, they didn't have it. Okay, that works too. They just don't have it. I think my mana needs to be better. I think this mountain might be a mistake, just with all the endurances in the deck. Oh, okay, so they messed up. They could have done this in their draw step. And I'm happy I kept the Wilt over the Veil, I think. Probably not, actually. Now that I think about that a little bit more, because I have the other Hullbreacher in hand. Oh, well. They can play Carpet. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. All right, so I'm going to ponder. I think I kind of want these. I'm going to draw the Brainstorm. Gonna cast the Brainstorm. Okay, good. So we found a blue card to pair. Like, and protect this Hullbreacher potentially. I'm gonna get rid of both of these. And just like, absolute backup plan is I just have the Wilt. I suppose the Forceful's not great though, because it's like it doesn't stop decay, it doesn't stop sudden edict, but that's fine. Alright, so I guess we're in a holding pattern. I gotta hurry up. I got 5 minutes on my clock. Jeez. Don't know why I played that. Probably should not have. That's fine. Ends up, I will endurance their graveyard and start attacking, just because I want to pressure them. If they ever trade with it, then any future monkeys I draw are alive. That's like okay, actually. We just like trade graveyards. I should have like checked what was in the graveyard to see if I wanted to shuffle off this fetch land. This is fine. Now I don't want to attack because their crackback is better. Alright, so I'm going to do this, and then before damage, I'm going to flash and dress down to remove the Death Touch. Suppose in theory they can cast their cantrips this turn. Oh my god. If they cast a Brainstorm, I can Wilt this. They have Veil of Summers. They didn't. This sucks. Just because, like, No, I'm just gonna wilt the Sylvan Library first. See if that resolves. How many libraries did they have? They had 2. So I will let this happen. It's just when I'm sitting on 6 mana. Alright, well, I gotta force this. That was just rough because, I mean, I could have forced the Fatal Push instead of just wilting the Sylvan Library, but it only gets punished by, like, the second library. It's fine. Which is a lot of. And I just really wanted to not have to use my force. Well, let's see if we hit anything good. Alas. Right, I'm going to keep this in hand for future brainstorms. This is kind of nice because it's like incentivizes them to not attack. Cool. They didn't attack. That's so gross. Ugh. Yeah, they're only drawing 4 lands to our 7. Likely going to deal us in, or do us in rather. Plus having a second library, which was like, again, the only punish for keeping the Hullbreacher alive. Okay, sure. I don't really know what can pull us out of this at this point. Probably something like an arrow is like the best bet. Okay, sure. Yeah, 8 lands to their 4. Just, what are you gonna do? Well, this is a brainstorm. If it starts with anything, it starts with brainstorm. Well, these are things. So what can I do here? I can dress down Unholy Heat the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can dress down Unholy Heat the Goyf and play the arrow. I can play the arrow and gain 3 life and draw a card and put a land into play. And then I can dress down Unholy Heat the Goyf. I gotta start making moves. Alright, yeah, I'm gonna play the arrow first. I think I should have enough to escape it the next turn. And I need the land in play to be able to do everything and have a Pyroblast up. Yeah, I'm gonna lose this time. That's frustrating. I should have just played a little faster. It's on me though, obviously. It feels like the last card's forcible, and I'm trying to figure out what to do. Obviously, we know it doesn't matter. On the opponent's upkeep. Or I guess... No, yeah, so on the opponent's upkeep, we play the dress down. I'm going to fetch this now. I don't think I'm going to win in time. What a fool, what a fool, what a fool. And quite frankly, I just don't have time to mess around with the Sylvan Library. I will attack with Ragavan because I have a shock in hand. Looks like Jace, potentially. All right, count on this. Sorry, I'm not talking much. I do need to catch those with dash because if they have a way to kill Hullbreacher but not like a row, it is lethal. Or maybe I don't have time for that. I just F6 because like they could fetch twice to like make me time out. I don't know. I think I have to. I think I have to go for the dash. Whew! Holy moly! What a stupid game! What a stupid game! Wow. Yeah. Cool. All right. That is a game to end things off on. So I will take us to the review. Okay, so we're back here for the review. This deck, to me, felt like an unmitigated success. It kind of just did everything that I was thinking it might in theory crafting, and the cards that I wanted to test performed pretty well. The Ragavan is just insanely powerful. Anyone that says this card shouldn't be banned, I think just quite simply hasn't played with or against the card enough. Like, I know that's a very, very strong statement, but this card just feels insane, even when there are times where it's not great, like if an opponent has a creature out or, they remove it. Dreadhorde Arcanist had a similar issue as well, where like it was vulnerable to removal, and it could get bricked by large creatures. It doesn't matter. Just because there are sometimes ways to deal with it doesn't mean you always have those answers in time, and it doesn't mean that your opponent can't, quote unquote, answer the answers. Where if they try to remove this, you can daze it or force of will that. If they put a creature in front, you can bolt it, and then when things don't line up correctly for the opponent, this card just absolutely runs away with the game, just both in terms of the tempo of the treasures and the occasional card advantage as well. So I think this card is incredibly broken. I would like to see it banned from Legacy, planting the flag early. Dress Down, getting a lot less hype than Ragavan, I will admit. Probably like 30 cents compared to $90. But this card was equally impressive to me, if not more, just because, everyone knows this card's a good card, but this one has been played with a little bit less. It kind of, again, did everything I wanted it to do and solved a major problem for Rug midrange, which is, again, big creatures. And that was just very fun to experience as a player. We had some blowouts against like Urza Saga tokens. We had some blowouts against like Shrinking Knight of the Reliquary. We had some blowouts from like removing Death Touch from a Plague Engineer and then blocking with our Endurance. While this draw a card, so it's just kill your Plague Engineer, draw a card. It was very cool, and I'm very happy to try it out. I definitely want to keep playing with it some more. It seems like Rug is the best home for it because again, it makes up for like the biggest downside. But you might still want to try it in other shells like Bug or Bant. It was certainly very impactful in a lot of the matchups, even, outside of the shrinking creatures. Other than that, Endurance performed really well. Everyone knows this card's pretty good. Unholy Heat, a little bit underperformed. I think the biggest thing is it's kind of hard to get Delirium in this shell. And so it ends up just like not being turned on most of the time. I still think it's better than Shock. in a sort of mid-range deck where you're not trying to go face very often, but I'm going to keep thinking about other potential options here in this slot, like this extraneous removal spot. I do think it should be an instant just to pair well with Dress Down, but I'm not sure if it should be Unholy Heat, I should say. Another option is to potentially reconfigure a few things so that Delirium is a little bit easier to achieve. Maybe like play more enchantments in the deck or artifacts or planeswalkers. So we'll see. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the games. They were some pretty sick ones, and I will see you all soon. Bye.